It has been 9 days since the tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut, and it is still weighing heavy on all of our hearts. On Wednesday, we had a prayer service here at Epiphany for the 28 people whose lives were taken. There were a lot of tears and sadness, and there was also a sense of comfort and support as we all try to continue to deal with our grief individually and collectively. In today's gospel, we have Elizabeth and Mary rejoicing and filled with joy to be pregnant. Their 2 little boys will soon be born and will change the world forever. It's a stark contrast to the boys and girls whose lives were cut short in Connecticut. With Christmas only a few days away, we may become aware of some of the other possible holiday emotions. Feelings of excitement about Christmas being right around the corner, along with feelings of anticipation. You might also be filled with a feeling of overwhelm, with the cooking and shopping and wrapping that still needs to get done. Or maybe you are nervous about traveling, or someone you're nervous about seeing. You might notice feelings of sadness or feelings of depression as you grieve over someone who has recently passed away or who passed away years ago and you still miss being with. If today's gospel included some of the finer points of being pregnant, it might make us feel a little more comfortable in our current experience of Advent and what it feels like to wait. The stuff I personally got to experience firsthand earlier this year while Jenny was pregnant with Maggie. The morning sickness, which actually lasted all day. The intense hunger and cravings for pickles, Rocky Road ice cream, and mountains of fruit. The swollen feet, and my favorite, the gestational rhinitis, which is snoring brought on by pregnancy, which was so loud I could hear it through the walls while sleeping on the living room couch. But how can I really complain with all that she endured so our child could be born? The details might help describe a wider range of some of the feelings that we are all having. But these details are not part of the written account in today's gospel. The gospel is focused on something much greater. The world is about to be turned on its head by the birth of a child, Jesus Christ. In today's gospel, Mary visits her cousin Elizabeth, who is pregnant with John the Baptist, and they share together the excitement that they both will be bearing a son. These women carried the messenger and the message. This Sunday in Advent has been called the Feast of Fools because of the unlikely nature of the story which is about to unfold. Elizabeth, a woman who is high in years, is to bear a son, and Mary, a poor, unmarried woman, is about to give birth to the Messiah, the Savior of the world. How unlikely is this? The Messiah, our God, who we would expect to visit our earth in kingly attire, who you would assume would be born in a golden castle with thousands bowing at his feet, will soon be born in a stable, in a manger, a trough which animals eat from because there is no room in the inn. It all seems so crazy. Nothing is as one would expect. And as a mother, Mary, knowing that she is going to give birth, would probably have wanted the best for her child. Forget the fact that this is the Messiah. This is what mothers and parents want for their children. When we were planning for the birth of our daughter, I remember being horrified that we would have to go to a hospital that was 45 minutes away instead of a hospital that was only 15 minutes away. I'm sure Mary would have wanted a safe place to give birth, to be surrounded by midwives and people who could help her through, to have friends and family all around her. But Mary knew full well that this wasn't going to be the case. She knew that she would be looked down upon for her circumstances. Mary had no idea how everything would work out. You would expect Mary to be stuck in denial, to disappear, or even do something unthinkable, but she doesn't. Mary rejoices. She exclaims, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for he has looked with favor on the lowliness of his servant. Surely from now on all generations will call me blessed, for the Mighty One has done great things for me, and holy is his name." Mary is an inspiration for us as we all go through challenges now and challenges that we foresee in the future. Mary's thoughts and emotions are not written in the gospel, but we can suppose that she must have been experiencing a kaleidoscope of emotions, from fear and anxiety to the complete joy she expresses in talking with Elizabeth and as she sings her song, the Magnificat. What we can learn from Mary is how to be faithful to God in challenging times. In times of uncertainty, in times when we are overwhelmed, in times when we can do nothing but wait. Mary's faith was strongly rooted in the knowledge of God's grace, in the knowledge of God's goodness, in the knowledge of God's promise of mercy from generation to generation. Mary kept her heart and mind focused on knowing that her son, Jesus, would be born, and through him, all things would be possible. Each week, as part of the staff meeting here at Epiphany, we read and discuss a book. This week, as part of our reading, I read a great story by Edward Hayes that I'd like to share with you. If you listen closely, you will see how it speaks to Mary's ability to focus on Christ and provides us with an opportunity to do the same. The story is called The Great White Rabbit. It seems that a young aspirant to holiness once came to visit the hermitage of an old holy man who was sitting in the doorway of his quarters at sunset. The old man's dog stretched out across the threshold as the young spiritual seeker presented his problem to the holy man. "Why is it, Abba, that some who seek God come to the desert and are zealous in prayer, but leave after a year or so, while others, like you, remain faithful to the quest for a lifetime?" The old man smiled and replied, "Let me tell you a story. One day I was sitting here quietly in the sun with my dog. Suddenly a large white rabbit ran across in front of us. Well, my dog jumped up, barking loudly, and took off after that big rabbit. He chased the rabbit over the hills with a passion. Soon other dogs joined him, attracted by his barking. What a sight it was as the pack of dogs ran barking across the creeks, up stony embankments, and through thickets and thorns. Gradually, however, one by one, the other dogs dropped out of the pursuit, discouraged by the course and frustrated by the chase. Only my dog continued to haughtily pursue the white rabbit. In that story, young man, is the answer to your question. The young man sat in confused silence. Finally, he said, "Abba, I don't understand. What is the connection between the rabbit chase and the quest for holiness?" "You fail to understand," answered the old hermit, "because you failed to ask the obvious question. Why didn't the other dogs continue on the chase?"